Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Monday, December 18th, 2023. I guess the last full work week before the Christmas holiday. Hope all of you had a good weekend and you're starting off to a productive beginning of the week. Thank you all for watching these videos. Thank you all for subscribing to my channel. I am seeing a lot of support, a lot of growth in the channel. Means a lot to me. We're going to keep doing this. Try to do it every day, bring to you not only current events, bring to you some business perspective and knowledge and background that I have to offer. Hopefully, we always talk about fitness, staying healthy on this channel and touch on that. Hopefully, the content is something that all of you get some benefit from. There'll be tidbits maybe you can pull from here or there and learn something. We're all learning every day. I try to respond to the comments and I get new ideas from you guys in the comments, new suggestions. The discourse, I think, and the discussion and the sharing is very, very important as we develop this community. So I encourage you to please keep doing that. I'll keep doing my part, showing up here every day, even on a long, long day today where it's been back-to-back projects and calls and emails. I'm going to take the time, set aside the time to summarize what I think are key events from the day, discuss maybe something that's happening with my practice for the day and in the business world. And you guys please keep watching, subscribing, liking, and please share. I guess there was a metric I can see from YouTube that shows how many times you guys are sharing the videos. And I would like to see that number go up substantially. If we can, meaning forwarding those these videos to friends, family, colleagues, that will listen to these videos and hopefully also start to open their eyes as to what is happening economically. So with that being said, I had an interesting issue come up today. For those of you Canadian subscribers and viewers, I was trying to record a transfer deed in my county with the county recorder today. My client lives in Canada, but the property is here in California. We're trying to sever a joint tenancy to terminate a right of survivorship in a property co-owned by my client and another person. You do that typically before you file a partition action, and it just protects all the parties in case the client, something should happen to the client. The entire title of the property would not pass to the other adjoining, to the other landowner, other title holder. So without getting too much in the weeds, interestingly, because the assessor rejected the deed, he had it notarized with the help of a lawyer up in Canada, but evidently in this county, the assessor requires when you have an acknowledgement from a foreign country, it must be authenticated by one of the following: by a judge in the country where the acknowledgement was taken, number two, by an American diplomat officer, consul general, consul, vice consul, or consular agent, or number three, by an apostille. Certification attached to the document pursuant to the terms of the Hague Convention. So we need to have it redone. Obviously, to get in front of a judge in a California matter, number one, it's not required, but it's a big deal. You can't just show up before a judge. So evidently, the Canadian laws differ. I've brought to the client's attention. We're going to have that fixed up so we can get that recorded. But look, I mean, the laws vary from state to state, sometimes county to county, and definitely from country to country. In California, a notary acknowledgement, I have a notary show up at my office. The client's here, we show them the identification. The notary affixes a notary seal and signs it, that they witness the person come before them and sign the document. And that's good enough to have that document recorded in California. So I don't know how it is in your various states or areas of the world, but I thought that was interesting. Learn something new every day. Okay, a few articles I saw I want to get to, I thought were important today. Number one is out of the Business Insider. This drives me crazy, and the title of the article is The 10 Products That Have Shrunk the Most Under Shrinkflation. And it says, it's not just your imagination. Things are getting smaller and more expensive. It's been termed shrinkflation. Brands shrinking the size of their goods but keeping prices the same. It's a strategy that's meant in part to hide price hikes. A more expensive product might turn shoppers off, but a chip package with a handful fewer chips at the same price is a sneakier way of giving consumers less for their buck, it says. So who are the main culprits of shrinkflation? It says Senator Bob Casey, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, asked the Bureau of Labor Statistics for its data on which products have been impacted the most by shrinkflation. And the Casey's report reveals that several common household items have indeed been shrinking. Number one, your breakfast has perhaps been particularly impacted, with coffee and fresh pastries getting smaller and pricier. So portions are going down, and it's getting more expensive. And if you feel like you're going through paper towels and toilet paper at a rapid clip, it's not just your imagination, the article says. It turns out that your household paper products, things like paper towels and toilet paper, are seeing the largest price increases from shrinkflation. Shrinkflation is one way that policymakers and advocates say companies are attempting to squeeze more profits out of their consumers. The companies, of course, call it downsizing. It's a tactic that makes sense in firms that want to hide price hikes. Buyers are much more sensitive to seeing a price that's higher than a package that's a little bit smaller. And many consumers may not even notice the package is smaller, or that you get less chips in the bag or less cereal in the box. It says corporations are only getting more creative as they rake in record profits at the expense of, this is Pennsylvania families where that senator is from, shrinking the size of their products while keeping the same sticker price. This corporate greed is one reason that Americans are frustrated by expensive grocery bills. So obviously it says that shrinkflation is not a new practice. As a report from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis documents, ice cream containers have been shrinking for years from 64-ounce containers to 48-ounce containers beginning in 2008. That's what, 25% less, something like that? The same cans of coffee, which shrunk from 1 pound of coffee to 13 ounces in the 1980s, and then contracting even further to 11 ounces by 2003, according to CBS News. As the Federal Reserve research notes, it's legal for businesses to shrink their products. They just need to accurately list the quantity on what's inside, says. And these kinds of changes, obviously, it says, are intended to obscure the very real fact that American families are getting less for their money. So I don't know, comment down below. Are you noticing this stuff? I think it's hard not to, but you know, it's a double kick in the teeth for us consumers when we're getting less and we're not even paying the same. We're paying more for less. So in some respects, the corporations are getting it both ways. They're able to save on the amount of product they're putting in the packages, and they're charging more for that same smaller amount of product. So anyway, voice your frustration down below if you are if this is something that really irritates you. It does irritate me. It's as if consumers aren't getting squeezed enough right now with inflation, with interest rates. Anyway, I thought that was an appropriate article to bring up. All right, student loans. We talk about student loans quite a bit on the channel. This is about Zero Hedge today. Again, not surprising. We did a video, I think, last month on student loan payments coming due and how it was impacting people and they're not going to be able to save as much. Here we go. It says a shocking 40% of student loan borrowers missed the first payment after the pandemic era freeze expired. Because if you recall, payments resumed again in October. So here's the data. In October, the number of Americans delinquent on subprime, we're talking about auto loans first, was the highest rate on record amid a rise in Google searches for give car back. While the number of people upside down on auto loans is at the highest level since April 2020. We did a show on that. If it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. Let's talk about the student loans. It's the 1-2 punch. Now, according to data released Friday by the Biden administration, 40% of student loan borrowers skipped their October payment, the first since pandemic-era freeze on student loan expired. And here are the stats. Around 8.8 million out of 22 million borrowers who missed the October payment has failed to make their payment by mid-November. A sharp contrast, it says, to the October 2019 pre-pandemic period when 26% of borrowers still high missed their payments. While most borrowers have already made their first payment, others will need more time, it says. So, of course, now you have the government doing everything they can to help these borrowers or delinquent, ramp up their repayment to help them out. It says these on-ramp include a suspend. Let me read it. The new data shows that for the first time, the millions of borrowers are availing themselves of the flexibility that the Biden administration has offered borrowers, which officials have dubbed the on-ramp to repayment. These on-ramp include a suspension of reporting delinquencies to credit bureaus through the end of September next year and postponing aggressive debt collection methods like wage garnishment. So look, what they're saying is there's no incentive not to make your payment. There's no, let's say there's no punishment. If you don't make your credit card payment, if you don't make your mortgage payment, guess what? After a certain amount of time, that delinquency goes on your credit report as a late, and it will severely impact your credit score. They're saying now that, well, if you don't make your student loan payment, we're not going to report it to the credit agencies. We're not going to start any aggressive collection tactics to garnish wages or to come after you. So look, if someone has two bills in front of them, one's a credit card bill and they're using that credit card to pay their monthly expenses, a shortfall, and they have a student loan payment due, which one are they going to pay? They're going to pay that minimum interest on the credit card so they can keep that credit card alive and working for them over paying their student loan payment, because a credit card company will aggressively call, email, send demands, and they will report you to credit, and they will pursue collection if it's not paid. So we're just setting up a system here, in my opinion, folks, that is just destined to fail. So many of these borrowers are destined for the bankruptcy court. Now, I think we reported last month that they're even finding ways where these debtors can now discharge these student loans in bankruptcy. That was always something you couldn't do because the idea was if we're going to lend you money, the government, to go to school, that you couldn't just come out of school, have the benefit of the education and the degree on your wall, and then run to the bankruptcy court and discharge that debt. Now we've done away with that also, and they're introducing ways for these borrowers to bankrupt their student loan debt. The last article I'll briefly touch on, because I said I was going to talk about three things. Business climate in the tri-state area. This is New York, northern New Jersey, and southwestern Connecticut. It says business climate in that area is much worse than normal. It says the headline: business activity continued to decline in the tri-state region service sector as executives from New York, northern New Jersey, and southwestern Connecticut warn the business climate remains much worse than normal. The headline of business activity index fell 3 points to negative 14.6. 22% of respondents reported that conditions improved over the month, and 37% said the conditions worsened. This is the 15th month of the last 18 that has signaled an economically troubled business climate. It says employment growth stalled and wage increases slowed for a third consecutive month. So in that area, they're hiring less people and they're giving them less pay increases. So let's keep a watch on that. That's a very, very, very busy producing area of this country on the East Coast. So I hope you got something from the content today. We're about 14 minutes. I'll be leaving here in about an hour to go get my 1 hour workout in today. Please get your steps in, get your walking in. You're posting comments about exercising you're doing and keeping up with this. For those of you that are making the effort every day, I commend you. I do it every day except one. I try to take off Saturday. Do I always want to go exercise? No. At the end of the day, sometimes do I feel just kind of zapped, and do I want to head home, have some dinner, and just veg out? Absolutely. But it's a mindset, and you have to be consistent to be successful at whatever it is you do, whether it's exercise, weight loss, growing your business. You have to show up. So with that being said, appreciate all of you being here and watching, and I will talk to all of you tomorrow.